Mississippi Wampanoag tribe. And glad to be here with everyone today. You know, I want to thank Larry Roberts and under their administration on the great work that they did. Give Larry a round of applause, please. Thank you. Well, Larry and Kevin Washburn were true champions of Indian country, and I believe each and every one of you in this room and beyond can understand that and relate to that because they did magnificent work. So, each and every one of you out there as tribal leaders can truly understand the terror and the challenges that we're going through today in this modern time. We're virtually in a realistic ledge that the termination era has been reintroduced. And so it's a very horrifying situation that's happening with my tribe, the Mississippi Wampanoag. We say Mashpee Wampanoag, but it's Mississippi Wampanoag in our true pronunciation. Back in 2015, under Larry and Kevin, our land into trust was made whole through the initial reservation process. And we were very grateful that it was 0.1% of our total homeland was given back to us as trust lands, roughly 320 acres. You know, we had a huge land base, if you will. When we talk about first encounter tribes and we hear about that day called Thanksgiving and those Indians that sat with those first settlers were those my people. In fact, with the Wampanoag tribe, Murray and Michelle, we were the last two federally recognized tribes remaining that signed off on the Plymouth Colony, which was the anchor to establish in the United States of America. So it's interesting that we always live here, we always remain. We haven't gotten anywhere. And so under the Obama administration, we were granted trust lands again through Kevin Washburn and Larry. Under the IRA, Category 2, Indians living on the reservation that are descendants of those folks before 1934, since 1934. But unequivocally, the IRA does apply to my tribe. And in fact, how the M opinion was put together was managed in such a way, the proper way, by Larry and Kevin to administer trust lands for tribes. So here we are today in which we see the M opinion is not being used in the appropriate manner in which it was manifested for tribes to have trust lands. You know, Chairman Maltese, and we were talking in the Northeast Caucus this morning about the 1994 amendment where all tribes should be treated equal. And in fact, we're all federally recognized tribes. And so it's a natural conclusion that federally recognized tribes should have trust lands. Right? Is that true, everybody? That's the truth. There's no question whether we should have trust lands. There's no question that we're sovereign nations. There's no question that we may have heard of you. That's the response that we got in our decision. We may have heard of you, but you don't meet the definition of Indian. That's absurd. That's absurd. We are creation of the Creator. We are creation of the Creator. The Creator created us. So for someone that is not part of our creation story, you know what I mean? It says, you don't meet the definition of Indian. I want Indian country to stand strong. We must stand strong. I'm asking you to stand with Mashpee. I'm asking you to stand with Mashpee. I'm asking you to stand with Mashpee. United we stand and we never fall. But we live united we stand by one another. United we stand forever as Indian country. We are the first people of this land. We are the first people. We will stand together, we will fight together, and we will live together, and we will prevail together. And this is the truth. We are the privileged, true nation. And we meet the definition of what the Creator has defined us to be. Sovereign indigenous people that love the land, that protect this land, that was here for a purpose. And that purpose is to remain as indigenous people, to remain as the first people, to live strong together, and to hold strong together, and not to be manipulated by anybody else's rule of law. We are sovereign, that means we are in control. We are sovereign, that means we are in control. I just want to take a break for a second and say I love you all. My language is Wampanoag. Because to see Indian country stand like this, please be seated, is an act of sovereignty. To see us stand together like that was beautiful. That was the greatest creation right there. To see everybody standing like that, united. That's sovereignty. That means we're in control. But don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not, by their definition. So as I mentioned, in 2015, my tribe, the National Wampanoag, was granted trust lands, 320 acres, and we were thriving. And we've always been there, but it was an exciting time for my people, really exciting. And we saw the rejoice, the recharge, the reclaim, the refresh happening in our community. We saw all the programs becoming developed in healthcare, education, natural resources, and beyond. We saw elder services just booming. Elders that lived through the struggle that said, oh man, thank you. Thank you. We're moving. Thank you. And all of us, we only do what our ancestors wanted us to do, is to continue to thrive as indigenous people. So there was a lawsuit filed against my, and Larry had mentioned about Indian gaming, the advances of Indian gaming, and I see my friend Ernie Stevens over here. Ernie, and Indian gaming has been powerful, but compared to commercial gaming is just out there, and it's grown because of Indian gaming, right? Because of the competition of Indian gaming, because of the ability for tribes to be able to provide for themselves, and then this greed-based economy is all the tribes are doing, so you see commercial gaming escalate. And so then they say, well, hey, listen, we're going to control this thing. And so tribes, you really shouldn't have that. So a gentleman, I will say, by the name of Neil Bloom, a Chicago developer, manufactured a lawsuit with 26 plaintiffs out of the city of Taunton. City of Taunton is our homeland. That's where we also have trust lands. That's where we're building First Life Resort and Casino. It was $1 billion facility. We spent hundreds of millions already. And then the interior got sued. Now this is interesting. Our trustee got sued. That is supposed to stand strong with us. And our trustee walked away from us. I had a tough time, honestly, hearing from our trustee and the responses that our trustee was giving to each and every one of you. I'm here to speak the truth. What was said yesterday wasn't the case. Our trustee actually walked away from us. And in fact, so we had to move to intervene, and then the Department of Justice walked away from us. So right now, we're in litigation by ourselves without our trustee, who supported us in 2015, and now they don't support us.
We're with you, brother.
Thank you.
Right.
You know what? I do have hope and faith because of each and every one of you out here. I do have hope and faith that I just saw that stand happen, and I feel much better. But I also know the fight continues. And I know that if we continue to stand together, we will win together. So the truth is that we are standing together, and we will not leave each other because we are the greatest creation. So our trustee is not with us. So we're out there fighting, and we have filed a complaint against Secretary Zinke because we do believe that the M opinion is not being honored anymore, it's being misapplied. When we think about what's happened in Alaska to our brothers and sisters in Alaska, we want that M opinion reapplied to the Alaskan tribes and apply the way in which it happened under Mr. Roberts and Mr. Washburn. Because that's why it was developed based on all this ambiguity. And so it was for tribes, not against tribes. It was not a tool that was developed to hurt tribes. Now there's a tool that has been dissolved to hurt tribes. That's a very important point to make. And for my tribe, an opinion was not a point. You know, it's a statement that we may have been aware of you, but you don't meet the definition of Indian. I hope that gets everybody's blood going in this room. Understand that that ancient blood that we have in our system defines who we are. So let's flip the script. We may have been aware of them, but they're not fitting the definition of a trustee. Right? So we filed a bill with Congress, HR 5244, and it responds to all the litigation that says the IRA doesn't apply to us. And, you know, you don't meet our definitions, and based on who we think you are, you're not that. And we're not familiar with the beginning of this country. I've even heard those things. And so when somebody speaks up beside of the neck like that, you just have to look at them and say, wow, what's happening? Don Young, who is a co-sponsor of the bill, on July 22nd at House of Natural Resources hearing, asked the Interior if they support the bill. Now, we heard that question yesterday, I think it was from Vice Chair Clinton, I think it was Clinton out of Alaska. Is he here? Yeah. There you are. He asked the question yesterday to our trustee, do you support the Mashpee, to reaffirm the Mashpee Reservation Reaffirmation Act? And we heard our trustee say, this is the first time we've ever been asked, I've ever been asked. If everybody saw the video on July 22nd, Mr. Young said, hey, this is a good piece of legislation, my name is on it, I think you guys better support it. And the evening before the 22nd, the press came out that the Interior did support the bill. And then within that day of the hearing, the press changed. We're neutral, we're not for it, we're not against. And it came from Indian Affairs, I believe. So what I'm saying is this: we have a responsibility as Indigenous people to stand strong and speak the truth. And stand by the truth. We, each and every one of us know the truth. And so we also have asked our trustee to support reaffirming the Mashpee Reservation Reaffirmation Act, and we haven't got an answer back. So it was interesting to hear that affirmative yesterday. So we have asked that question. Also, I want to leave you with another thought. On November 14th, you know, when we think about every race and culture in the United States, they have their marches at Washington, D.C., and they have shown their pride, they've shown their unity, and they've shown their strength. The Indian country, now is the chance for us to stand united. So I'm calling out all of Indian country on November 14th, next month, which is quote-unquote 1 month that celebrates us, but we celebrate us each and every day, because we are the greatest creation. But on November 14th, 2018, at 10 a.m. in front of the National Native American and Indian Museum, we're going to march and walk from there to the Capitol, where we're going to have a rally. We're going to have keynote speakers there. Aaron, I hope you'll be one of those speakers.
I'll be there.
And I'll be calling out many of you. Yes, President Phil's going to be there. Will you be there? I'm asking you, will you be there? I can't hear you. Will you be there? Ernie's going to be there. So, sincerely, Wampanoag, I love you, my friends in tribal community and my city Wampanoag language. November 14th, please come out as Indian country. Let's march and rally and walk together. It's about a sovereignty and land walk. Sovereignty meaning that we're in control and land is our foundation. So I hope to see each and every one of you, and I'm hearing from a lot of leaders that they're getting buses, they're bringing their communities out. It's going to be huge, but we're going to take a stance, and it's going to be a lot of coverage. So Indian country, I love you. I hope you understand our situation. I'm calling on each and every one of you, and please bring this word back home to your communities, that we have a very serious attack happening here to the National Wampanoag tribe based on land, I'll say Alaskan tribes. And I'd like to, Mr. Jefferson Keel, ask for this board for a vote right now to pass a resolution that will support Mika's brief and support the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe in litigation. Can I get a vote here from the floor?
We don't have a Make a motion.
Make that motion, please.
Clinton Augustin, United Indian Tribe.
Second.
Do I recognize Clinton made the motion and Mike made the second?
They need to report that they're a member of good standing.
Yeah, members in good standing. Please come to name and tribe in good standing.
Clinton Augustin, United Indian Tribe, Treasurer, also NCAI Alaska Area Alternate, member in good standing. I make that motion to support National Wampanoag.
Thank you.
Mike Williams, Executive Committee member in the best standing. Anyway, that's it.
All right. We have a motion to support. I'm going to ask for, in 1 second, I'm going to ask for unanimous consent just to make sure we're doing everything properly. If it isn't correct, we will correct it later. No problem. All right. I'm asking for everyone, I'm going to ask for division of assembly. That means everybody stand for unanimous consent. Physically. Woo! Motion carried.
And so, keep your spirit strong. Stand as an Indigenous people. I want to recognize each and every one of you. Put your hands together for yourselves, your ancestors. I also want to turn to my brothers and sisters from the Northeast. I love each and every one of you, and thank you. Put your hands together for the Northeast.
And I'm going to recognize Lance, because 5 or 6 years ago, where is he? He reminded us of this, and I spoke up early on it in support of it. At the time, it's like, well, what's this really about? You know, the car cherry picks. And NCI has been following the wishes of the Assembly in trying to address this issue. We have met with senators. The response back is that, well, not all tribes are on board. And we ask, well, who are you talking about? And they won't give us any names. So there is an undercurrent of opposition that is coming from Indian country. And I hope that we can get through this, because whatever that opposition is in the shadows that's preventing a archery fix, and that leads to this. This is unraveling our sovereignty. So if you didn't realize back then what's at stake, it should be clear what's at stake now. And so we need a clean archery fix, and we all need to get on board and fight for this in unison. So I want to recognize Lance for bringing that to our attention about 6 years ago. And we have only one question from the floor, so we can move, because we do, just so everybody understands, there's other people lined up, and in order for us to get to tribal leader discussion, the time that we take right now means that we have less time for tribal leader discussion. So it's a trade-off, so I'm going to recognize one speaker.
Thank you.